This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. The Middle Ground Mike is fighting for truth and unity. Subscribe now or support us today. Links are in the notes. Stand with us. All right, good evening, everybody. This is Joe from the Middle Ground Mike. We got a great guy, Larry, here. One of the things holding you back wasn't really politics or policy, but your smile. I know that when my teeth were messed up, it really bugged me. And I personally feel like it held me back. Nobody ever told me it did, but it affects your confidence. Our health touches on our wallets, our jobs, and even our confidence. And today we're finding the middle ground with Larry from the Fresh Mouth Club. Larry, tell everybody about who you are and what you do.
Hi, thanks for having me on, Joe. It's good to be here. And great to kind of tell our story, tell what we're about and stuff like that. So, our mouth is pretty important. Our smile is important, confidence and stuff like that. Obviously, that all falls into it. But believe it or not, our mouth is kind of the epicenter of health. Wellness kind of starts in our mouth. If you're unhealthy in your mouth, you're definitely either you have issues elsewhere in your body, or you will, without a doubt. There's actually some physicians that actually subscribe to the fact that about 80% to 90% of chronic illness starts in the mouth. So that's how important it is. Our mouth is interconnected with every single part of our body. So every single tooth in our mouth is actually connected to an organ or a body function. That's called the tooth meridian chart. You can look that up, Google it. There's plenty of charts out there, but it'll show you what tooth is kind of connected. And it's not pseudoscience. This is real science. That's why when you go to the dentist, if you have a deep cleaning done, they give you antibiotics for your heart, because you could actually have issues with it, because that's how connected we are. So, they've done studies, even in the hospital, they've done like about 30% of heart disease patients, heart and stroke actually, can be related right back to the mouth. Actually, more specifically, it can be the toothbrush, to be honest with you. Our toothbrush is literally one of the filthiest things in the house, and we stick it in our mouth every day. So not actually thinking about it, but about 100 million strands of bacteria live on our toothbrush, and we just kind of swish it around.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah. They actually make us sick on a regular basis. Sore throats, canker sores, intestinal issues are pretty common. We just don't realize it and keep infecting ourselves. That's why a lot of people say, well, when you get sick, you want to throw your toothbrush away because you reinfect. Well, that is 100% true, but we need to throw them away on a regular basis because they infect us even when we're not sick. They clean microscopic particles of food out of our mouth, which attract bacteria like a magnet. So as you sit it in your bathroom, they just absorb all this stuff, and they breed like crazy. And again, about 100 million strands of bacteria live on average in a toothbrush. And we're talking about some bad hombres here, not like the good stuff we were talking about earlier, where you kind of lick the dog kind of a thing, and we need that to kind of create a better immune system and stuff. No, this is bad stuff. People have actually died from brushing their teeth from bacteria. Now, that is super rare. Point is it happened, and it's possible. So that's how toxic our toothbrush can become. And again, our mouth is connected everywhere. So we're doing that with a severely toxic brush. We're just getting that in our body and can create some pretty significant issues. And even to the point where, like, if you have oral problems, you have gingivitis, periodontal disease, or tooth decay, some issues like that, it's even worse because your toothbrush has got that bacteria, and then it's growing and it's mutating, turning into even worse. And then when we're brushing our teeth again, we're just kind of repurposing it. So not doing ourselves a lot of good. So that's how important, like, our mouth is. It actually truly is, the epicenter of our health and wellness. And our mouth biome feeds our gut biome. A lot of people understand how important our gut biome is today. Well, our mouth kind of feeds that. So getting our mouth biome, kind of right and stabilized with bacteria and stuff like that is a good thing. We got good bacteria in there. We got bad stuff. And we want to purge the bad stuff, but we don't want to necessarily wipe out the good stuff all the time. So unfortunately, our market is kind of flooded with all stuff that perpetuate problems. And fluoride is one of the big ones. So we talked about it a little bit offline, but fluoride is heinous. Fluoride is, we got to look at what it is first, and a lot of people get bent out of shape, and, like RFK is taking it out of the water, and people losing their minds. Oh, our teeth are going to fall out. Only 33 countries in the entire world fluorinate their water. And guess what? the rest of the world does not have horrible teeth. So they get along without fluoride. And not a problem whatsoever. And we kind of push that like it's like the best thing since sliced bread. Is not. Fluoride is, so we look at just facts. So we just look at, that's why I tell people, let's just look at the facts here. Fluoride, what it is. So it is actually called hydrofluoric acid. So that's its real name. And it's the main ingredient in rat poison. In case you were wondering who the rats were, that was us there. So yeah, that's real. So fluoride is actually very toxic. It actually, they used it as a pesticide back in like 1920s. And actually, there's a lot of old newspaper clippings. I have a lot of them, collect this stuff. But farmers and stuff were using fluoride to kill rats and coyotes and cockroaches and all kinds of stuff. Well, they had to stop using it because guess what? Oh, the people were dying too. So it was kind of almost touted as use it in your house and sprinkle it everywhere. They had commercials and stuff on it. And, it's safe and effective and all that stuff. Well, yeah, then people started dying. So then they were like, yeah, maybe this stuff isn't so great. And, they stopped using it in that sense because it was killing people as well as pests. So fluoride is one of the most toxic substances on earth. And I was really shocked when I found that out because it's in my toothpaste and I'm using toothpaste every day. And I'm thinking, fluoride was supposed to be really good for us. But the TV said so it's gotta be true, right? But yeah, when I started down this path, we started really digging, and I was actually looking at, doing a fluoride, we were looking at fluoride. And when I kind of found all this stuff out, I was like, well, hell no, I'm not doing that stuff. So we decided not to do fluoride. So then we, the natural progression would be to say, well, let's do a natural toothpaste. So we looked at like Tom's and some of the other all natural non-fluoride toothpaste. And when we really started digging in that, guess what? That stuff's not good for us either.
Yeah, no,
it's not. And actually statistically, you get more cavities with an all natural toothpaste than you would with fluoride. And now, your dentist is going to tell you that's because fluoride is far superior. That is a lie. That is not true. It just means that we're doing a very bad job on the other side with something that can purge our mouth of the bacteria. So that's actually, was a bigger issue for me because I said, well, if we're not going to do fluoride and I can't do all natural toothpaste, I really didn't set out to make toothpaste. That was not my life ambition, really. This came as a kind of a byproduct of, we talked about offline. I was in the dental insurance industry kind of, and we were just looking to do a preventative healthcare, preventative mouthwise and market it to the insurance companies. And so when we went down that road, we really kind of researched everything and we're looking for the best thing for our mouths. And that's where all this came out. So I said, well, fluoride's out and all natural toothpaste is out. So, I guess I got to make our own toothpaste. So we really started looking into it. And the reason that all natural, I kind of go back a little bit, all natural toothpaste, I'm not saying it's horrible. I'm just saying it doesn't kill the bacteria. And we do kind of need to purge our mouths from it. Statistically, again, this is a real stat. You get more cavities with an all natural toothpaste because it doesn't purge it. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's going to get more cavities if you use an all natural toothpaste. Everybody's makeup's a little bit different. Everybody processes toxins different. Our DNA, our genes, all that kind of come into play, so you may or may not. But if you have issues in your mouth and you have that bacteria and you are more prone to it, you are definitely going to have more problems with an all natural toothpaste. And this is factual. And it's not that they're bad per se, it's just not killing the bacteria. So it's not helping us orally. And, that of course that's not what we want to do. We want something that's going to help. So we were kind of tasked with the issue is how do we kill the bad bacteria in our mouths without actually hurting ourselves? Because fluoride does do it. Fluoride does kill the bacteria. Now, fluoride kills everything and fluoride will kill you too. So fluoride is extremely toxic. Less than a gram will kill a full-size human being. And that's real. That's why fluoride, when they actually put it in our water, they use hazmat suits. They got to dress up in hazmat suits. We're talking skull and crossbone, the whole shot. That's literally toxic waste and it will kill you. So they have to do that when they put it in. And there has been spills, by the way. So you can look back in our history here and see that we've had fluoride spills. Mm-hmm. And what happens when they do? Well, they call in a hazmat team. They completely rope off like a very large section because the gas alone will kill people. So they'll bring in a hazmat team fully dressed and Fluoride is very corrosive, so it eats through cement. Our
Now
teeth, yeah.
that, yeah, I remember we were talking about like the I didn't realize it ate through it though. Like,
It eats,
wow.
it's very corrosive. It eats right, and it does it quickly. It'll eat right through cement. It'll cause the gas, and the gas will kill people within short distances around. So it's extremely toxic, and we're told that this is good for us. So they have to reduce the amount in our water supply down to 0.07 parts per million. That's not a lot. 0.07, so that it won't kill you immediately, because that's how toxic it is. But it does accumulate in our body. So it accumulates in our bones. And this is factual again, and there's lots of studies on it. So it accumulates in our bone and our teeth. So when we get it in our teeth, it's called fluorosis of the teeth. By the way, the number one cause of tooth decay in America is fluorosis, literally caused by fluoride.
Oh,
So exactly what it's supposed to protect us against, it actually is the main cause of in the United States. That's a fact. And since 1940, when we started fluoridating the waters, fluorosis has risen dramatically along with cavities, tooth decay, and everything else. So they should have went down because we're fluoridating water. We're giving this, and this is going to make us have good teeth. We really should have seen a very sharp curve in the decrease of oral decay and stuff.
right.
Well, it sharply went up. And actually, it was all done with, there was one study done in 1940 by Dr. Hodges, and we base everything off of that today. That study, by the way, has been debunked about 100 times. But the powers that be, they're not going to remove it because it makes a lot of money for the dental industry. But it is extremely toxic and poisonous to us. So we look at what it is. So what is fluoride? So fluoride is toxic waste. So when they make phosphate fertilizer in a chemical factory, chemicals, when they were making these, like Roundup, that would be a good one. They probably wouldn't use Roundup as toothpaste. But fluoride is the waste byproduct of making that. So that's how toxic it is. So it's toxic waste, and we're using this in our body. Probably not such a great idea. But again, it does kill the bacteria. All natural stuff doesn't. So we were kind of said, well, how can we actually purge our mouth of that bacteria without really harming us? So that's the real key. So we looked at a few things, but silver was one that came up pretty quickly. Silver is one of the most powerful antibacterial products known to man. So it obliterates bacteria, germs, viruses, and fungus on contact. There's not an antibiotic made today that can hold a candle to what silver can do. And that's factual. So silver actually was used as an antibiotic prior to 1936. So when you went to the doctor, they literally prescribed that to you. And it worked, and it worked very well, but it worked too good. And of course, the pharmaceutical companies came in, and they've, everything is a chemical synthetic blend of a natural product so that they could patent it and make a lot of money on it. Silver did not fit in that box, so they had to push it aside. And they actually tried to remove silver from the market multiple times, but they can't because it was legitimately a medicine prior to 1936. So it's kind of, they got to leave it alone. So it's, but it's been reduced all the way down to a supplement. They can't make medical claims on it or anything like that. So, so it's really been downgraded, but it is super powerful. The silver even kills medication driven bacteria, like MRSA. So 6,000 people a year die from MRSA. And that's a man-made bacteria germ, I guess, if you will. The reason I say man-made is that your bacteria grows resistant to the antibiotics. And when we don't have a stronger antibiotic, guess what happens? We
Yeah,
can't
you get
kill it.
sick. Yeah.
That's what MRSA is. There's others too, but MRSA is a big one. And again, 6,000 people per year die from it, mostly in the hospitals where you catch it. And nobody has to die if they use silver. It kills MRSA. Silver kills without resistance. The bacteria can't grow resistant to it. It's impossible. So they've done lots of tests on it. And silver also kills viruses, fungus, which is super cool. I mean, it kills everything on contact. Really cool thing about silver is silver doesn't kill good bacteria in our body. Now, that's kind of a unique factor of it. So it kills the bad, not the good. So it promotes a really healthy mouth biome, which in our case is a big deal. So it actually creates a healthier mouth biome than any other product on the market, because I really don't know of another product that kills bad and not good. So it actually distinguishes what it kills. And then it impregnates in our skin. We use a nano silver. The nano silver actually lasts for about 6 to 8 hours in our mouth. And in that time, it destroys bad bacteria trying to regrow back in. It doesn't allow it. So it gives you a really clean, fresh feeling that you're not going to experience with anything else out there because nothing does that. And it perpetuates the growth of the good stuff, which we want. The good bacteria we want, the bad bacteria we don't want. So this actually gives a very unfair advantage to our good bacteria. So it really allows that to really flow in. So what that does is it actually creates a very pH balanced saliva and mouth, which in itself is very indicative of healing. Our bodies are pretty amazing. We can heal almost everything naturally, given the right environment. Silver helps create that environment in our mouth and actually in our body as well. So you can drink it sublingually. Nano silvers you can actually digest, but they get in our body, and again they destroy bacteria, germs, viruses, and they don't kill the good stuff. So they actually silver boosts your immune system more than vitamin C does. So it's actually stronger than vitamin C. It's essential to our body. Most people miss that silver's a noble metal. What that means is it's a mineral. It's a mineral that we happen to require. So we need silver in our body. Without it, our immune system wanes and we get sick more often. So beefing that up, of course, helps boost your immune system and helps you not get sick. A lot of people take it when they do get sick. It definitely shortens the duration. But if you take it all the time, you just don't get sick as often. So it's really beneficial for us. So, in our toothpaste, obviously does an amazing job cleansing our palate. But silver also is a healing agent. So it heals and it regenerates. I just said that we don't use silver in hospital settings for bacterial or viral. That's not allowed. But we can use it for healing. Wound centers use silver a lot. The burn victims, silver nitrate, which is silver, actually regrow skin tissue. Your wife's a nurse, I think you said, so she probably really knows about silver a lot. So yeah, it heals wounds faster than anything. You put silver on a cut it heals up like almost overnight. I mean, it's really fast, and it regrows the skin, like I said. Back in the 70s, there was a doctor doing limb regenerate. He was actually studying regenerating limbs. And he was actually able to regrow fingers, on a child that lost his fingers. And it's one of the main things with silver. Yeah, silver, it does some pretty amazing stuff. So in our toothpaste, we quickly found out that it actually has healing aspects to it as well. So nano silver specifically has studies, and there's a lot of studies out there on it. So nano silver is actually clinically proven to actually heal our enamel. So we've got people that had cavities literally heal over in about 4 to 6 weeks. So gum tissue regeneration, about 6 to 8 months. Now, those are two things that your dentist will say that's not even possible. But these are clinical studies. They're not ours. So this is real. And even actually the American Dental Association actually knows this, because I get a lot of flack. Sometimes I get some dentists that say, hey, you can't go around saying that kind of stuff. And I said, well, you guys do. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, you have a product called SDF. It's called silver diamond fluoride. And I said, and you tell people it regrows your enamel. And they're like, well, yeah, but that's entirely different. Why is it different? Why can you say it and I can't say it? And he goes, well, it's different, but there's a byproduct. So they actually use that product, but they only use it on children. Now, why don't they use it on adults? Well, because it turns your teeth black. Sure. I don't know a lot of adults that want to walk around with black teeth. So
Not
not a
me.
good thing. Yeah, no, not me either. But children, you do it on their baby teeth. They lose their baby teeth. The adult ones grow back and you're fine. So that's where they use it. The reason it turns your teeth black. So SDF is silver diamond fluoride. It's silver. That's what's in our toothpaste. The fluoride additive to it is actually what causes the blackening of the teeth. Now, they've done studies on it, so this is real. So SDF turns your teeth black because of the fluoride. If you take the fluoride out, you basically have our toothpaste and you'll get a white tooth. So it actually does just that and gives you white. It actually does whiten your teeth. So you do get a brightening out of them because as it comes in, you're getting a little bit whiter, brighter smile kind of a thing. But it also kind of, like I said, heals cavities. Sensitivity of teeth go away relatively quickly, about 4 weeks or so. Permanent thing. It's not a temporary. You get your products like Sensodyne and Pro Enamel, stuff like that, which is microfiller toothpaste. Our teeth are porous, almost like a honeycomb underneath a magnifying glass or a microscope. So they got microscopic particles that go in those little holes, take away the sensitivity. And then they work temporarily. Of course, they fall out and then you get the sensitivity back. So you got to keep using the product. Actually, on the back of Sensodyne, there's a warning label. It says only used for 4 to 6 weeks. So you're not supposed to use it always. And number one, people don't read the back. Number two, if you stop using it, you get sensitive teeth again. So it's kind of a little bit hard to do that. But what ours does is actually heals the enamel. So you got no sensitivity at all anymore. So there's a difference between healing and, and actually putting a Band-Aid on it kind of a thing. And our toothpaste kind of heals it. Gum tissue regeneration as well. It also takes away sensitive gums, bleeding gums, inflamed gums. It really does an amazing job in our mouths. And we're the only product on the market that can penetrate gum line. So we have like gingivitis, periodontal disease below gum line. Actually, if it gets really bad, they literally cut your gums open and then they scrape it all out. It's a
Ooh.
horrific surgery,
Ooh.
really bad. And
Ouch.
it's the only way to get that out because they can't penetrate that gum line. Actually, ours does it every day. So the nanoparticles can penetrate gum. They destroy bacteria below gum line. So it really keeps below gum healthy, above gum, everything. Even plaque and tartar, which are two of the things we actually go to the dentist really for. I mean, when you go for the cleaning, we don't really need a dentist to clean our teeth, but plaque and tartar are a big part of that. And yeah, your dentist will, that's you're scraping, he gets in there and really scrapes that stuff. It's the funnest part of the doctor visit, right? Getting the plaque off your teeth. Well, the plaque and tartar are actually caused by three bacteria, Streptococcus mutans, Salivus, and Bacillus. Those three form together and give you that hard plaque tartar on your teeth, which got to be scraped off. Well, guess what? Silver kills all three. Regular use of silver toothpaste, plaque can't grow on your teeth. So no more plaque, no more tartar. It completely eliminates that. So it keeps our mouth lots healthier and maintains that very good pH balance in there. It helps our teeth, helps our gum, helps below gum. It's just really amazing. And it does absorb into our body. So our mouth is the most sublingual part of our entire body. So you are getting nanosilver particles in your blood, which we want. That's a good thing because that boosts your immune system. So you're actually boosting your immune system while you brush your teeth. So which is a big positive. So
Let's take a quick break.
The Middle Ground, Mike, isn't just another podcast. It's a movement for unity, for truth, for a future beyond the left and the right. But movements don't grow without people willing to stand up. Subscribe now on Buzzsprout. Fuel this mission directly on PayPal. Every subscription keeps the fire burning. The links are in the show notes. Be more than a listener. Be part of the Middle Ground. Yeah, kind of. I agree with you on that. Especially with like the gum health part. We had kind of talked a little bit about like my journey, if you want to call it, right? Like, so from like the Fresh Mouth Club, right? How does that work for? I mean, obviously, if you want to call it the novice, right? So, like, let's say I'm Jimmy John from down the street, and I'm like, you know what, man, I don't like this. Like, what can they expect when they jump on board?
well, the first thing you notice with our toothpaste is, it's non-toxic, non-fluoride. You get a fresher, cleaner feel than you will with anything else. You really get a fresh feel with it. And, again, if you have some issues, sensitivity and stuff, it's going to take a little bit of time, but it's a very refreshing. I mean, I've been literally told it's the best tasting toothpaste on the planet.
Right.
It really does taste well and it performs well. And it does what it's supposed to. What you'll notice right away is a real clean, fresh feel. I tell everybody it's about 6 to 8 hours. So you're not going to get that out of anything else out there that I know of. If you go to bed at night, before you go to bed, you brush your teeth. When you wake up in the morning, you do not have morning breath. You're still pretty fresh because it actually is still working. So that's how strong it is and how long that it's going to last in there, which is, I had one lady tell me that, that was a hell no. She's not letting her husband kiss her in the morning. I said, well, that sounds like a whole different problem.
Jesus.
But, but yeah, it really gives you a fresh, clean feel. You'll notice that right out of the gate. Um, and we do have a club, our Fresh Mouth Club. We do a subscription-based program for those who want it. You can just buy one-offs as well. If you do our subscription, we just give it to you cheaper and we give you free shipping with it, so it just is a bonus. But you can just buy it off the website, regular price and, have it shipped out. That's fine for us too. We have a lot of people that do that as well. But we have like packages. Our package, we pretty much kind of give you we have different levels of it, but our one package has got basically everything you need. So that's like I have one here. That's our manual kit. That's got inside. You got your toothbrush, toothpaste, a mouth rinse, floss, timer, the whole shot. That's our toothpaste there. I'll hold it up to. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I like. It's I know. Like I went on your website, and man, there is definitely a lot of flavors on there per se.
Well,
which is great because it appeals to people. It's more than
yeah,
just that you got this one or two flavors from a brand like Colgate or whoever, you know what I mean? Obviously that they're putting out the stuff with fluoride in it, but it gives people a lot of options and makes it something that people can get into, right? Because it's not just about, to me, it's not just about, hey, we got a good product, which is what I really liked about, your company is, but we've got a product that's going to appeal to people. We got a product that's going to get people to buy in. And to me, that's what's the most important because you can have the greatest idea in the world, but if it doesn't attract the customer, it means nothing. You
right,
know,
right.
and so we'll do like a kind of like a little bit of we'll do a if you want to call it like a manual or electric toothbrush.
So I'm big on electric. We do have an electric kit as well. So we have electric. The only electric you should really use is a Sonic. So your Oral-B's and your Braun, the circular brush that spin brushes actually ruin your teeth, which I was kind of shocked because some dentists actually promote that. So it
Yeah.
actually causes, and that's again scientifically studies on it. So it rotates at about 5,000 RPMs. It actually cleans your teeth really well. It actually takes the top layer of enamel off. So it actually causes teeth sensitivity. And if you hit your
Man.
gum line, which we're supposed to brush gum line, and believe it or not, even a manual toothbrush, you can do a lot of damage to your gum. But the Oral-B's, the spin brushes, they'll tear your gum up pretty big. So receding gums and sensitivity is what you're going to get with Oral-B's. They're just not. And actually, they know this. Their newer toothbrushes have a vibrational and they flash. So when you push too hard, it vibrates and it lights up to tell you that you're ruining your teeth. So I would say that, I mean, Sonics are better because Sonics don't move. They just vibrate. So the vibrations actually hit 28,000 vibrations per second is where sonic pulse kicks in. That's when like a sonic boom, basically. So that sonic pulse is kind of what brushes your teeth. And it's very invasive. So it's not damaging or eroding away. You literally can just hold the toothbrush there and make little orbitals without doing pressure. And the toothbrush does all the work. You can even get gum line. You can even brush your gum. So I routinely actually put it on my gums. Or our Sonic actually has a massage setting that you can actually put and massage your gums. What that does, that brings blood flow back in there and actually helps to rejuvenate gum tissue. So we have that built into ours. And then our Sonics also have a very high vibration. So like, your Philips Sonics, they have a wide range of toothbrushes. They're cheap ones you can buy at Costco. They're $89. They hit 28,000 vibrations. They're good toothbrushes. Absolutely nothing wrong with them. That's a good toothbrush for your mouth. And again, they're $89. That's an entry level to a Sonic toothbrush. But Philips S brush is their Elite series. That does 38,000 vibrations per second. That's a really nice toothbrush. That's a $300 toothbrush. But it is nice. I'm not going to knock it. It's the technology is basically the same as in ours, Sonic technologies. But ours actually, we do 48,000. So we have the highest vibrational level out there right now. At 48,000, it actually polishes your teeth. So we have a polish mode, which actually gives you that glassy feel that you get from the dentist. A lot of people say, well, feels like you get back from the dentist with it. So we actually polish it. We have a whitening mode at 41,000. And then normal brush mode is about 35. So we go much higher than their 28 level. We have more functionality on it. And then we use UV sanitation in our toothbrushes. Because again, toothbrush filthiest thing in our house. We want to make sure that we're cleaning them. So we clean them every day. Our Sonics have a UV sanitizer built right in. So you can clean your brush after every time you're brushing. Even our manual kits, we actually have in there, we have a UV as well. So the UV in there actually looks like this. And that actually, you put your toothbrush in and then close it. When you close it, so if you can see it there, the UV light comes on, it's blue. But that actually cleans your brush. So that actually detoxifies it. So you're not using a toilet brush in your mouth every day. Actually, Discovery Channel, I have a picture when we do shows and stuff. It's a toilet brush with somebody putting Colgate on it. It's from a Discovery Channel, actually did a segment that's a picture from their thing, their show. And they said that your toilet brush is actually cleaner than your toothbrush. That's actually how disgusting they are.
I learned something about that, and there's a thing in the food industry called Serve Safe, and that's like I don't know why it's in there for whatever reason, but it's in the video where they show if you've got like your toothbrush on your counter or whatever in
On the
your
toilet,
bathroom,
yeah.
and then you flush it, and it just shows it's like kaboosh, and you're just like, oh man, how many times a day does that happen? And
Yeah.
now Now you just put that in your mouth, and after that, I was like, well, this stuff's kind of going in a cubby away from everything, and
80% of toothbrushes have fecal matter on them. So
yeah,
that's where that comes from. That's real. And to be honest, I mean, that's probably one of the more tamer bacteria that's on it. Because like I said, there's some pretty toxic stuff in there and they mutate. So they actually get worse and worse. So the longer you use the things, the worse it gets. So that's why we recommend you should replace them every month and you should clean them every day. And that's kind of part of our program. We send it to you. So you don't got to remember the last time you changed your toothbrush. We send it to you. So when a new one comes, you know you got to throw the other one out and you get another one. So we do that. We try to make it very affordable. We're a direct to consumer brand, so we can make it a little bit cheaper. That's where our subscription comes in. Our toothpaste runs about $10 a tube. Our rinse for it is about $11.99. We recommend you rinse with our rinse. In our rinse is kind of it's real small. A lot of people say, "Oh my God, that's tiny." Well, it's a super concentrate, so it's got a very high concentration of nano silver. It's 100 part per million xylitol and peppermint. So it's made to be diluted. You only need about 4 to 5 drops in about an ounce of water. That's what you want to rinse with. When you rinse with that, what it's doing is enhancing the silver rather than rinsing away and spitting it out at the end. So after you brush, this is what you want to rinse with. So you get your water ready, put your drops in there, you kind of rinse with that. Now you can actually swallow that. Nano silver passes digestion, get in our gut, kills the bad, not the good. It's a good thing there as well. But whether you spit or rinse or swallow, either way, you're enhancing that silver level rather than rinsing it away. So, that's $11. Our toothpaste, $10. You got your toothbrush, you got your floss, you got everything in there. And that whole kit's only $19.95 delivered to your door. So we make it cheaper, easier for you to get it. We give you free shipping, to make it easy because, obviously you do it once a month and you can do 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever your brushing habits kind of dictate to, so that's up to you and you can change that and modify it anytime you want to. We give you full control over your subscription in the back office. So you can pause it, skip it. You can cancel, you can do anything you want right from there. You don't even got to call us. So we can call us. We'll help too, but we made it so that it's real easy. So you can kind of do some of that stuff yourself. And then we let people know like 5 days in advance before we ship. And so you can go in there and say, hey, maybe delay it by a week or 2 weeks or skip the month completely. So we don't want to get too much or too little. We want it to be kind of perfect. And after a couple months, once you got to kind of get into it, it's kind of like clockwork. It works phenomenal. It's really well, or it might be 1 month for you. It might be 2 months. It might be 3 months. We also have a 6-week option. So we can really try to accommodate everybody. And if you don't fit any of that, you let us know and we'll try to work something out. So, we really try to make it, so that it works and perfect for everyone there. So,
no, those are fantastic things. Obviously you being in the business, what's one oral health habit that you may struggle with that other people struggle with that, you're like, well, my brand's helping me with this. Cause we all got them, man. We all got them.
Yep. I'll admit, I'm not a huge flosser and that's a kind of a big no-no. You really need to floss.
Yeah.
And I know that too, being in the industry and stuff, but I'm not a big flosser though. So, I do occasionally, nowhere near as much as I should. But number one, it's in our kit. So that kind of prompts you to use it a little bit more. Number two, the nano silver particles actually do go between teeth and below gum line. So that actually helps a lot more. So even if you're not a flosser, it does actually help that a lot. And we also use things like we have ozone as an option. You don't have to use that, but we have an ozone generator. So ozone is really amazing for our mouths. Ozone is almost as cool as silver. I don't if you're familiar with ozone, but ozone
No,
is
never heard of that actually.
It is one of the most sterile products known to man. It is 10 times more powerful than bleach, but it is non-toxic to our body. So you can drink it. We actually recommend to drink it. So it's one of the most sterile products. Like I said, it destroys bacteria, germs, viruses, almost like a fungus or like a napalm. It just destroys everything. But it's a very unstable molecule. It's made from oxygen. 3 oxygen molecules bound together with electricity. That's why they call it O3. Lightning makes it in nature naturally. If you get your clothes out of the dryer and they're that static cling, you kind of pull them apart, you get that the smell. That's ozone. So ozone's a gas. It can be dissolved though in water and in oils and some other things. So we have The ozone it does a lot of really amazing things. So ozone reverses tooth decay. So not stops it, literally reverses it, like reverses tooth decay. With the use of silver, you can actually rebuild the tooth, and biological dentists do exactly that. And actually, even your biological, which are your best dentist, they'll actually, if you need a root canal, they don't do root canals because root canals can be really detrimental to your health, very detrimental. So what they'll do is, if they can't save your tooth, they pull it and do implants. Not that that's a great alternative, but way better than doing a root canal. But what they can do is, if they do ozone irrigation to a tooth that needs a root canal, about 40% of the time they can save the tooth, which is pretty amazing. So, ozone, the problem is that ozone generators are really expensive. They're like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. They're not cheap. And, so to bring this in the house was difficult, because it's like, I don't think people are going to spend $5,000 on a thing to brush our teeth with, right? So we actually designed a bottle. These are our bottles. These actually are ozone generators. So they generate ozone and hydrogen. A lot of people are familiar with these kind of bottles that do hydrogen. Yeah. Hydrogen water is amazing for us. Ours does hydrogen as well. So we have the only bottle on the market that does ozone and hydrogen in one bottle. The ozone we use a couple times a day. Use it when you, in the morning and evening when you brush your teeth. You kind of rinse with the ozone. If you're using it, we recommend to put the silver in there. You do the silver and the ozone together. Really amazing for us orally, but you drink it as well. So we recommend to drink the ozone. When you drink ozone, it permeates the blood very quickly. It destroys bacteria, germs, viruses, and fungus like a napalm. But the thing is that it's very unstable, so it falls apart. In our body, in our blood. It creates what? Oxygen. When it falls apart, it's made from oxygen. So we get this oxygen surge in our blood, and it's actually hugely beneficial. I mean, it reduces inflammation. It aches and pains. It actually, like I said, destroys cancer cells even. So cancer cells the ozone melts the outer shell of cancer, and then it oxygenates, and oxygen kills cancer. Literally kills it immediately. The problem is that shell, you got to break through it. Ozone breaks it. So they're doing a lot of studies with ozone therapy for exactly that reason. And it passes blood-brain. So you get a lot of oxygen in our brain, which typically, again, you don't get a lot of that on a regular basis, not huge surges. With that extra surge, it actually increases cognitive function. So they're doing like testing with Alzheimer and dementia because of that cognitive increase. So a lot of good things, orally as well for our whole body. So but ozone's not a nutritional substance. So you're not really getting that hydration that you get from normal water. So you don't want to drink lots of it all day, every day. So it works really well with the brushing. Once in the morning, once at night, you kind of rinse and you drink it. Throughout the day, you can use the hydrogen. So we designed a bottle so that you can get a lot of functionality. Of course, you don't want to spend a bunch of money on something you can use twice a day in the bathroom. So these bottles you can take with you and use the hydrogen, which is really amazing for our bodies as well. H2O, the H is hydrogen. That's literally what hydrates our body. So when you drink water, our cells absorb all the hydrogen out. That's what hydrates and gives us energy. Hydrogen literally fuels our cells. So and when you drink the water, it's hard to extract it for our bodies because they got to suck it all out of the water, basically, because it's part of the water. But when you put free molecules of hydrogen in the water, they're just floating freely. It's very easy for our bodies to absorb it. So it absorbs at a much higher level, about a 5-to-1 ratio, actually. So about 1 glass of hydrogen water is equal to about 5 glasses of regular water as far as the hydration. Plus it gives you energy and everything else. So it's really beneficial for you. So that you kind of use all day, every day, as much as you want to. And then the ozone you just kind of use for the brushing. If you use it, you don't have to, but that's kind of an extra step. We try to really be on the cutting edge of what's being out there and what's being used. So if you're using and you're rinsing with ozone as well as the silver, that's where you really can cut those corners on the flossing, because it's really helping. Now, again, I'm not telling people not to floss, because you should, but if you're a periodic or not so great at it like I am, these extra tools actually just give you that little bit of a level up on it. And then the other thing you do is like oil pulling, which is, now that if you're doing all that stuff with oil pulling, then you really can kind of probably not have to floss as much. And we actually have a product for that as well. We have what we call our perio swish. Oil pulling you usually do with coconut oil, kind of swish it around, kind of swish it for about 10, 20 minutes, and you spit it out. Kind of just removes all the bacteria and stuff like that between our teeth that flossing does as well. But what we use is we ozonate our oil, so it has ozone in it. So there you go. You got the ozone, which is a step above. And we use like 7 essential oils. We use frankincense, clove, wormwood, white thyme, black seed oil, sesame, pheromone 5, ATP, copper 1, niacin, and then we ozonate it. So it's a really powerful mixture. We actually designed it more for like people with root canals to kind of help with it, kind of like the irrigation of the
Yeah.
ozone in there in below gum line. But it happens to be phenomenal with infections and stuff in the mouth. It takes infections out like nothing. Even below gum line, periodontal disease is pretty much incurable in modern dentistry. They just give you antibiotics. We've actually eradicated it within about 3 months of using it. So 3 months of using it, swishing, you only got to swish ours for about 2 minutes because it's so strong. It actually helps gums. It helps rejuvenate gums. It goes below gum line, eradicates it, especially between teeth and stuff. So it really does an amazing job keeping your mouth super healthy. It also takes away mouth pain within about a minute. You swish around for about a minute, you're not going to have mouth pain anymore. It actually takes away even pain from an abscess will be removed from it. And actually an abscess, it'll actually take an abscess out in about 3 days. Use that every day. If you have an abscess, it'll take it out. In about 3 days time, you don't have it anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
You,
Pretty tough.
you know, it's a tough thing for people, right? Because dental can go from something that's so simple as, hey, I'm getting this. The next thing you know, you're 25 grand in the hole, and you're like, where
Oh,
did it
yeah.
go? So I mean, man, like you covered a lot of information, man. I mean, you got like some killer stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I've even sent I sent the stuff over to my wife, and she's actually looking at it, and so I mean, there's probably a pretty good chance we're going to give it a shot. We're definitely always about trying different things, because status quo is always meant to be challenged. Like I told you earlier, status quo is always meant to be challenged. That's like literally the whole point of it.
Yep. Nope. Nope. Absolutely. But, once what we thought was good for us doesn't necessarily mean it is today.
Right.
Like we talked
Yeah.
about a little earlier, lead paint, stuff like that. I mean, at one point we thought it was good, then it wasn't, right? So I
Yeah. I
think
mean, and
fluoride
things
is just
change.
kind of
And
one of those things, right?
right. And that's okay. And that's where I like, whether someone agrees with fluoride or not. Right. I just feel like especially if you agree with fluoride, be open to hearing something you maybe don't want to hear. That's where people got to get to, because sometimes we just believe in certain things, like biblically, if you want to call it, right? Like, oh my God, this is how it's been my whole life. It's kind of like, like me with, my coffee routine, right? Like every morning I got to, and if my coffee routine's off, I'm like, man, something's wrong here. Like my life is over. And not really, but it really can throw your whole day off, and I think that's why people are reluctant to change. But
No,
like your business model makes it easy for people to change. They don't got to go hunt at Walmart. They don't got to go hunt here. They don't got to go here. They don't got to do this. Man, they can just do it from the ease of home, and that's, I mean, COVID made that, kind of like the standard of wanting to do things, like you don't want to go at the store with all the people that are going, "What?" Over, a coupon that expired 2 years ago, not,
right.
and I think that's what's really killed store traffic. But Larry, I really appreciate you coming on, man. And we had some great conversations today, and I definitely want to get in touch with you again, man. That's
Absolutely.
one last thing, all this stuff you do. Are you a morning or night owl?
I would almost say night hour, but then again, I don't stay up as late as I used to.
Oh yeah, no, me neither.
Morning wise, I do get up real early, but kind of like you said, I like to just kind of about an hour. So I'll get up about 6:30, which isn't real early, I get up about 6:30 and I spend about an hour and a half drinking my coffee. Got to have the coffee.
Yeah.
And just kind of catching up on stuff, So that's kind of my routine is in the morning, and then I kind of get the morning started. So I guess I kind of have a morning, but I kind of have a routine where I gotta get set up, started, and then then we hit the ground running there. So
Yeah, no, and like thanks for help. Thanks for helping everybody kind of cut through the noise, right? Because prevention isn't glamorous. That's what the people got to remember, but it's powerful, right? Like a lot of doctors, even ones that aren't pro RFK, will say we need a preventative system. Even a lot of like we need to prevent. People got to
right,
be open to different prevention methods, though, and that's the real middle. That's where it's powerful, like that's where like, this show goes, like, hey, we want to find that middle area because
right,
there's more than just one way of doing things. There's a reason why there was different cultures in society throughout history, because
yeah,
not one way is always the right way. Not
exactly.
one way
No, no,
works for everybody. And that's what people got to try to be open to.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think we've lost a lot of that. We used to like be able to
Yes.
sit down and have conversations, remember that?
Yeah.
That's not even a thing anymore. Yeah, it's like, oh, this is over because it's kind of like I heard a thing once before, and it's so true. It's like facts don't care about your feelings.
Tom
That is
McDonald.
that is so true. So people get hung up because it's like, it hurts their feelings. It's kind of like dentists. Dentists are like, oh, they get all hurt because it's like, oh, you're not going to do fluoride. Oh, you know what? I mean, facts don't care about your feelings. I don't know how you feel about it, but we gotta
Yes.
get to a point where we can actually have conversations and listen. It's like, okay, so why don't you like fluoride? Let's talk about what it is. But they can't even get to that point because they're so blinded by, this is all I do, and it'd be like you mentioned earlier about your Dunkin' Donuts. You just love your Dunkin' Donuts. It's like, imagine, and I love coffee too. Dunkin's not my first choice. Used to be though. I actually used to use it, but I like to try other brands and stuff. And it's like, somebody tells me, "Oh, try this because this is so much better." I'm not going to be like, "Oh, no way, I'm a Starbucks guy." I'm not really, but but I used to be Starbucks guy, yeah. But I'm open to it because, well, hey, let me try it. So if it's that good, let me try it. And like what you said, you got that other brand that you got there, the coffee, and you tried it, you really liked it. So it's like, hey, we need to try other things, and it's okay. You don't get to get your feelings hurt and get all bent out of shape and not have a conversation about it. And I think that's where we're at. And I'm not saying that, hey, we're taking fluoride out of every toothpaste and you don't have a choice anymore. Hell, you can go and still buy Crest. I mean, that's not an issue. But I tell everybody, do your own research, like look into it, and don't just take what everybody tells you. And I think that's what we do today. Is that, it's like we hear it on the news, it must be right. Used to be a commercial. It was a long time ago. It was like when the internet was first coming out, and this guy
And
had
the internet must be true.
yeah, it was on the internet. Must be true. And they had like he had a girl had this guy who was supposed to be a model and everything else, and he turned out to this like hideous dude. And it was like, but the internet said he was like, because since I heard it there, it must be true. But it's like we don't, we just kind of we kind of get into a rut in our societies where we kind of just we believe what we believe. It's like, okay, whether you're a blue, red, Democrat, whatever, it's just like, oh, everything is this. Everything in life isn't just that. There's two sides to everything, and you got to be able to listen and kind of go through. And if we don't do it, we miss out on life too, right? I mean, if all you ever ate was vanilla ice cream and you love vanilla ice cream and you never tried strawberry or chocolate or anything else, you're kind of missing out on life. I mean, I got to try some different things. So be open minded, look into your, things yourself, do your own research. That's something that I think that a lot of people just need to do. It's like, can't just listen to one person. I mean, even me, everything I just said, hey, you don't believe it? Do research, go out there and look and dig deep. Don't just take anybody's word for biblical or whatever. You need to do your own research and really check in. And we don't do that today as much as we used to in the past. Because in the past, we didn't have all these, the tools that we have today, which the tools are
Right.
amazing. We have more knowledge at our fingertips today than ever before in the
I
history
know.
of
Knowledge
anything.
can be dangerous though too in the wrong hands.
Right. Absolutely. So we got to disseminate that. We got to look at it. We got to dissect it. See what we look at both sides. This says this. This says this. Because you can. Somebody told me once before. It's like if you dig hard enough, you can find whatever answer you're looking for, whether it's right or wrong. And that is an issue. So when you have all this information out there, you really gotta. It doesn't mean that it's right. You got to look deep into it and dig deeper. And like I said, do your own research and, really research anything. You don't got to take anybody's word for it. But that's something I think we're missing today.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Again, Larry, I really, really appreciate you coming on, man. Man, probably like I said, one of the best conversations I've had in a long time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We had a lot of fun off
Yeah.
recording too. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll shoot you an email, and I really appreciate you coming on, Larry. And, like I said, there's about a 99.9% chance we're about to buy some of your products. So,
Great,
I really appreciate it, Larry. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate everybody checking everything out. Give Larry a try at the Fresh Mouth Club. I mean, if you're not willing to try it, you're missing out. Because, to me, any CEO, anybody that leads a company that's willing to say, hey, don't take my word for it, go find out. That's somebody who believes in their product and stands behind their brand. And to me, that's like that's super important because not everybody will do it. They'll be like, take my word for it. But when you got a leader saying, look into it, check me out, check out what I'm doing, that is, people trust that. That right there is a good sign. So, again, Larry, thanks for coming on. I appreciate everything.
You bet. No problem. And maybe we'll get on again and we can talk about some of the other stuff. So,
Yeah, for sure.
anytime. Yeah, that was great. I had a good
Thank
time.
you.